Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Yasmin Isa from Wellness with Yasmin, and I'm welcoming you to the second Glow class, How to Balance Your Hormones Naturally. And with that being said, I'm going to start off with my opening dua or supplication, which was very widely used by the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, or Moses, peace be upon him. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Okay, so let's begin. Hormones. What an interesting topic. That's just, very interesting in the fact that a lot of people want to hear about it, that there's a lot of buzzwords about it. A lot of people are dealing with hormonal balance, so we're going to get into it. There's so much, as always, that we could talk about, but really I'm going to try to simplify things so that you're left ready to take action, that you're not left overwhelmed, and that no matter how specific your concerns are, and I know some of you have some very specific concerns based on that survey that you filled out for me, but no matter where you are or who you are, you will get benefit, male or female, so you definitely want to continue to tune in. Before I even talk anything about hormones, I want to share a common thing that I share a lot, whether it be with my one-on-one clients, group programs like this one, when I speak at an event in person, or when I'm just in casual conversation sometimes, depending on the topic. And this is a concept that I have to thank my nutrition school, Integrative Nutrition, for, and it is the concept of crowding out. Crowding out means that you add more good habits in, so there's less room for the habits that you want to kick to the side. This is effective because, one, it's so much easier to do something positive than to try to stop doing something negative that usually is maybe something that you're so used to. So this really helps. I think this is really going to help because I've noticed in our private Facebook group that a lot of you are trying to drink more water as per class number 1 on detox, and that some of you are trying to stop drinking while eating because of, you want optimal digestion. And I know you're struggling a little bit, and that's because I would recommend that before you try to stop doing something, just focus on having more. So with the water example, for instance, if you hydrate yourself more outside of meals and get that really going, you'll notice you don't really need to drink water when you're actually eating. And by the way, when you feel thirsty, and most people only feel thirsty when they're eating because eating brings on a sensation of thirst, thirst actually means you're on your way to dehydration, which is not a good thing. So you want to hydrate beforehand. So here we are, we're going to be crowding out. We're not going to be focusing on trying to stop behavior, because you're going to deal with a lot of resistance that way, and we want things to be fun, easy, and sustainable, like our mantra, inshallah, God willing. So now let's get to the topic of hormones, which is why you're tuning in right now. Basically, hormones are chemical messengers in the body that the body produces, right? And we have so many different types of hormones, and they all have important functions. Now, why are people dealing with hormonal imbalance? There's so many different reasons. The one that I want to start off with is the fact that there are different things, whether they be, whether they're foods or environmental things, or even, just things that are out of our control and also in our control. Obviously, what we put into our body is in our control, but certain things might be environmental. But nonetheless, there are outside forces that actually mimic hormones in our body. And when something mimics our hormones, that is dangerous, because then our body can't actually produce that hormone in the regular cycle that it's supposed to. The one hormone I want to speak about right now is estrogen, because there are a lot of phytoestrogens in our world today. A phytoestrogen is a fake estrogen. It's not the estrogen produced by the body, which, by the way, both males and females have estrogen in their body. Obviously, males, a very, very small amount, similar to how women have testosterone, but again, a small amount. But nonetheless, phytoestrogens don't only impact women, they also impact males. So I know my husband is the funniest when he says, he doesn't want any phytoestrogens, and I would assume any males out there, or even, the ladies out there that have, important men in their life, you don't want them dealing with that either. So I want to be really clear cut when I say this is not only a woman issue. And really, if there's an issue for either gender, the other gender should be concerned, because we are a community in terms of, how we impact each other. But okay, I'm going to stop digressing and get back to phytoestrogens. So these phytoestrogens, which I'm going to give some examples, that act like estrogen in the body. This is not good because it throws off our natural cycle. There are foods that do this, and I'm only going to talk about one food because I think that it is the most common one that is in our food supply, and I also think that it is some people commonly see this as a health food. And I know myself, several years ago, I even saw it as a health food, and it does have, there are some beneficial qualities to it, but I personally believe that the bad outweighs any good. And so I want to share that with you. And I hope that you'll take this with an open mind and realize I am not trying to restrict you, but rather give you tools so that you could figure out how to work this into your own life, inshallah, God willing. And so the food item that I'm talking about is soy. It is a huge phytoestrogen, and it is found in our food supply like crazy in terms of, being fed to animals that we eat, in terms of being used even, all these different products. You'll see, if you read ingredients, especially processed food or packaged food, you'll commonly see soy lecithin in it, and that is a derivative of soy. There's just so many things that soy are found in. I mean, edamame is considered soy, obviously. Tofu, there's just so many different things. Now, soy acts like estrogen in the body, and therefore it throws us off balance. Now, you can definitely reduce your intake of soy by simply reading ingredients and picking items that do not have soy in it. If you're really struggling with this, if you're in Glow from the Inside Out, post something on our Facebook group, and I promise you, or the women in that group who are awesome because they answer each other's questions, we'll post some substitutes. If you're not in that group, you could still join. There's a link below, or you can leave a comment below with your question, and inshallah, God willing, I will see it and get back to you. And there are certain things that you might not be able to avoid 100%. So for instance, if we're talking about, let's say, chicken and eggs, which I believe are great foods to include in your diet, great sources of lean protein, great sources of healthy fats, especially if we're talking about the yolks of eggs, which, by the way, you should be eating those. But nonetheless, a lot of times, even organic chicken, organic eggs that are hormonal free, that aren't given antibiotics, that are pastured, whatever the case may be, a lot of times they're still supplemented with soy, especially in the colder months. And it might be a small percentage of their feed, but nonetheless it is in there. And you just have to do your best. I always like to think of health as a continuum: good, better, best, optimal. So you have to do your best trying to decrease that. You really want to try to stick to glass, not plastic, because plastic does tend to act as a phytoestrogen in the body. Those are two things that I think are really key that you could start off with. And then my next tip I shared in the free Glow call before our program even started, and that was eating raw carrots. Raw carrots have a special type of fiber in them that literally fight excess estrogen out of the body. So this is a great way to help eliminate the estrogen you don't need for both males and females. So you want to be eating raw carrots. If you really want to step it up a notch, you can even make you could Google raw carrot salad. That is a great, it uses apple cider vinegar, coconut oil, Himalayan sea salt, whatnot. But if you don't have time to make that every single day, simply have a raw carrot. The way I like to do it is I tend to just have either cut up or even whole raw carrots included, on the side with dinner every single night. And if you look at my Instagram page, you'll see them there a lot. But they could be included at lunch or breakfast. And that's a good way to go. The next tip is coconut oil and olive oil are your to-go oils. A lot of these other oils like cottonseed oil, soybean oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, which some of those interlap between each other, are very bad for our thyroid gland. And there is an epidemic of thyroid issues going on. And so you really want to stick to coconut oil and olive oil. I recommend coconut oil for all of your cooking needs, and I recommend olive oil for, garnishing, whether you're, putting it on food, because once, olive oil has a very, very low heat, it can't handle heat that well. So once you cook with olive oil, you're really killing a lot of the nutrients in it. It is not necessarily harmful, but that's why I would recommend coconut oil for cooking and olive oil for garnishing and whatnot. That's another really good tip. And let's see, what else did I want to mention? Okay, this is a big one, sugar. So I'm not going to get all into sugar now, but basically, and I know another thing other than thyroid issues that's very common is polycystic ovary syndrome. And that's basically when, cysts are created. And a lot of women deal with this, and I know that it was brought up a lot in the survey that I sent out. And there are many different speculations as to what causes this, but one of the biggest ones is that, is the link that, reducing sugar in your diet could really help this out. Because check this out. When we consume sugar, our pancreas has to produce insulin, right, to make sure that the blood sugar level is not too much for our, for our blood. And therefore, when the body has to produce a lot of insulin, if you're eating a lot of sugar and your blood sugar is, regularly imbalanced, it's just not good. And eventually, if there's too much of this, the body actually can create cysts on the ovaries, and that, is a way of it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's kind of like a defense mechanism, if that makes sense. But there have been many, many accounts of people, drastically, reducing or kicking refined sugar out of their life. Now, that doesn't mean you have to not have anything sweet. I mean, I like sweet things too at the right time. But here's a couple of tips. One, you don't want to be snacking on anything sweet, even if it's something like just fruit. You want to always mix and match them. So like, for instance, if you're just having fruits, nuts are a good thing to add to them, or, having something sweet, even if you're going to have like something that has cane sugar in it, try to go organic with the cane sugar and try to have it, let's say after dinner when you've had a balanced meal. That's also very important. And then two more things I want to leave you with. One is you want to be eating healthy fats and proteins. This is so key. And you really want to amp up the healthy fats. My personal healthy fats are avocados, egg yolks, what else? Nuts, healthy oils like coconut oil and olive oil. You really want to be doing that, especially for breakfast. We've really been fed the idea that breakfast should pretty much just be grains and sugar. No, it needs to be a healthy fat, a healthy protein, and a healthy carb. That is the way to go if you want to be optimal. And another one is you could be eating all the best foods out there, but if you're not sleeping properly, we have a problem. So, you want to sleep well, and I know that's something you've heard before, but you really want to try to prioritize your sleep, because that's when the body rejuvenates itself. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is, remember, all these things I'm mentioning, don't overwhelm yourself trying to do them all at once. And, just focus on adding more good behaviors in. Be gentle with yourself when you fall short. And just know that if every single day you're on a journey to be a better you every single day, and you're doing it for the right purposes. So I know for me personally, I do it to please the creator of the heavens and the earth, God, because my body, my mind, my soul, they're all trusts. They don't belong to me. And I need to take care of them because they're also a vehicle by which I do everything. So I do hope that this is helpful. I know there are so many other topics in the realm of hormonal balance that we could spend hours talking about, but again, I'm here to empower you with concise action, not paralyze you. So I hope that this was beneficial for you. Any good is from God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any bad is from myself. Please forgive me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of God be unto you.